Welcome to Mexico, the country that connects the North and South American continents. Bordered by both the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, Mexico is the ideal place for sailing. In this episode, we're going to cover the sailing events of the FMV Cup.
I think people participate in our race now for a variety of different reasons. For some people, it's the beginning of a season. For other people, it's simply the adventure of sailing downwind for 1,000 miles. I suppose for everybody, it's fun to go on a point-to-point race where you leave San Diego and arrive in a wonderful Mexican destination like Puerto Vallarta.
The FMV Cup is an event that sprung from sailing's growing success in Mexico in recent years. In a 4-month period, 5 different events, the Puerto Vallarta race, Mex, Mexor, Banderas Bay regatta, and the 2016 Laser World Championships are in the calendar of the FMV Cup. These events range across the whole of the sailing spectrum, from dinghy to 100-foot boats, youth to veteran sailors, and amateurs to professionals, helping to promote sailing right across the board.
The most important idea that we are developing is to try to promote sailing around the whole country. In fact, today we have schools in 13 different states. Today Mexico is probably 3 times bigger in amount of sailors than it was like 6 years ago.
The Puerto Vallarta race, the first event on the calendar, began with a departure of 21 boats from San Diego to Puerto. The Friday start saw a Chamber of Commerce day, and a great one to send boats charging south to Puerto Vallarta. 4 Class 4 boats and 6 Class 3 boats started in a perfect westerly breeze of 10 to 15 knots. As the sun was rising on a Saturday morning that was slightly overcast, things weren't looking up for the big boat start. The 10 boats that set sail on Friday took advantage of a consistent breeze, launching them over 200 miles down the course. Most were reporting winds of 15 to 20 knots. Class 1 and 2 boats sat around the morning skippers meeting, wishing their race could have had Friday's conditions.
Yeah, 1,000 miles down to Puerto Vallarta from San Diego. It's going to be a great time. The weather looks like it's going to be nice getting going. There's going to be some nice breeze out there, so the boats ought to get lit up pretty well and go pretty fast.
The 2016 edition of the Puerto Vallarta race was a tale of 2 races. As sailors reached the dock in Marina Vallarta, their stories emphasized the contrast between the two. The first race was the run from San Diego to Cabo, which this year was like none other. The second race involved attempting to avoid the holes and minimize the light air that most boats encountered crossing the Sea of Cortez, and the approach to Puerto Vallarta.
After checking in with immigration, etc., all had big smiles on their faces. This was a faster race than they've had in many years. We've done this 32 times. People said this is probably the fastest they've experienced coming down the coast of Baja. Some of the speeds that were quoted of monohulls, this isn't the trimaran, the monohulls were 27 knots, and some of the smaller boats even. So they had quite a good time.
After 1,000 miles of racing, on the 23rd of February, the boat Mighty Merlo reached Mexican waters at around 13:30 hours. Mexican boats, Patches, Vincitore, Dangerous and Flyer were also arriving at Puerto Vallarta, proving tough competition in these 4 days of sailing.
San Diego to Puerto Vallarta race has always been kind of go up and down as the economy changes. So when the economy is not so good, then participation goes down, and we've tried really hard to advertise the race and the location and make it a destination race, not just a great, sailing race.
Meanwhile, as the impressive sailing boats cross the clear deep ocean, the West Mex International Small Boat Regatta 2016 was on fire. In a 3-day competition, more than 200 sailors participated in one of Mexico's best events in Banderas Bay. The West Mex International Small Boat Regatta 2016 is a National Olympiad qualifying event for all classes. It's also important for the Optimist class, as it's a qualifying race for the North American and World Championships, which will be held in the coming months.
It's a very important regatta for me because I am local here. This is the place where I train and where I've been training for the last 2 years. And it's also the club I represent to, the Vallarta Yacht Club. And also not only that, because it's the venue for the Laser Worlds, which will be held in May this year. So this is a very important regatta.
On the opening day, the wind was significantly light for all classes. However, the choppy sea was challenging and tested the skills of all sailors in terms of strategy and technique. The next day, the sky was overcast, and it seemed that no racing would take place. But the wind did come, and the first race began at 11 o'clock. The final day began with so much still to sail for. The wind was strong and stable, sometimes reaching up to 15 knots, perfect conditions that many sailors took advantage of to close the gap on those ahead and to recover from poor performances on previous days.
I haven't seen the girls that I know since a lot of time, so I'm very happy to compete with them. We are not a big group of girls, but I think we are all good. So I hope to win this race. I'm very excited too.
My next goal is try to perform the best in Spain. It's the Princess Sophie Trophy. It's the toughest event in Europe, and it's during Olympic year. It will bring the best athletes, and that's a big goal because it's a qualifier for the second World Cup of this year.
After 3 days of competition, West Mex came to an end with a high level of competitiveness and friendship. The award ceremony was held at the amphitheatre of the Hotel Paradise Village by the Vallarta Yacht Club, headquarters of this great regatta. The end of the PV Cup marks the start of the third event of the FMV Cup, the Mexor, which has been, since the 70s, the leading domestic ocean race not only of Mexico, but also of the west coast of the Americas. With boats participating from a wide range of places, including San Diego, it's a chance for local sailors to test their abilities against American boats. The event provides a week of intense sports and social activities for sailors and guests in Vallarta, Nayarit. Just like clockwork, the thermal breeze started to come in across Banderas Bay, building stronger from the beach and moving out into the bay. The scheduled racing for the first 2 days would be no problem with the building breeze.
Life is hard as it gets.
What we expect today is pretty much the same thing that we saw yesterday, a stronger sea breeze with a rotation of the wind to the right side of the course. So the fight of everybody is going to be getting the start at the committee to be able to go to the right side first. So it's going to be a very classic Banderas Bay sea breeze day today.
Adrenaline has been present every day in Mexor, and day 3 was no exception. All sailors were ready early for the pursuit race, where boats set off according to their ranking from slowest to fastest. In theory, all the boats could finish at the same time. It was a race of almost 4 hours from Marina Vallarta to Punta Mita. The sailors enjoyed the paradise of sailing in Mexico. The wind favoured most boats, reaching up to 20 knots at its best.
But the conditions were beautiful. Today we expect to have really outstanding conditions. We've got I think a 34 or 35 nautical mile race with a couple windward lewards, and it's a pursuit race, so those are always great fun.
Next on the schedule was Mexor's most famous race, where flat-out speed wins. It's always an exciting first half mile of racing as boats jockey for position, just as Formula 1 cars do between the grid and turn 1. If your boat can get to and out of the bay from turn 1, you're at a huge advantage over the other boats. The wind controls this race in 2 ways. First, the more wind, the faster you go, and if it's very windy, the lighter displacement boats will have a sleigh ride back into the bay with the spinnakers pulling, so it can be a game changer for sure. Second is the wind shift from the left bay breeze to the right shore breeze, and then back again as you race from the lower part of the bay to the outer entrance of the bay and back to the lower part. There aren't many tactics to it other than connect the wind shifts with your optimum heading out or back into the bay.
Trimming is very important because all the boats are basically rated the same, so the trimming comes down to like seconds on the race course. And we lost by 42 yesterday, which is a lot. Or we could have made that up somewhere on the course, which would have been really good.
At the end of the day, it's speed that wins on this racecourse. Vincitore was placed first in Class A, followed by Negra in second and Ruahatu in third. Timeshaver was first in Class B and the overall fleet, with Horizon second and Gladiator in third. Azteca placed first in Class C, with Olas Lindas second and Belat third.
Everything changes.
So this was a good race today. It was the island race, and it was the very light air at the start. The boats who got a good start got a few boat lengths on everybody else, including us. And then it was a light air building fairly quickly, and a long beat out toward Punta Mita.
It was a week of intense activity in Puerto Vallarta. Boats from different places of the United States and Mexico gathered in El Paraíso de la Vela to live this unforgettable experience. The positions changed many times all day long. They could win or lose in a moment. The wind of Puerto Vallarta was blowing between 12 to 25 knots, confirming that Mexico has some of the best places for sailing worldwide.
First of all, I want to thank the organizers here in Puerto Vallarta. It's been a fantastic event so far, where we get the thermals in the afternoon with a lot of breeze, which we of course enjoy a lot. Once we get the boat up to planing mode, that's where we can pull away from the competition and do what we do best.
The 24-year-old Banderas Bay Regatta is an unusual yacht race. It's designed to be a fun race for cruising boats. These are large boats that are big enough to take a couple or a small family on long ocean voyages, such as from Vancouver to Puerto Vallarta or Mexico to France.
The point of the Banderas Bay Regatta is to get cruisers out enjoying time out on the bay. Typically cruisers come down here from the United States and Canada. There's cruisers here from Mexico, and quite often they find themselves sitting on their boat. So this event was started about 23 years ago by Terry O'Rourke, and he basically got all the sailors involved in the bay. Typically the event will host anywhere from 26 to 80 boats in some of the highlight years. I remember being the committee boat for one of the events where we had 83 competitors. So the purpose is getting people out to enjoy their boat and do a little bit of competition, even though they're not really racers.
The opening event was on the 8th of March, featuring performers from Cirque du Soleil, an amazing show for the sailors and tourists of Riviera Nayarit. It was greeted with enthusiasm ahead of one of the best races on Banderas Bay.
The performance by the dancers from Cirque du Soleil was excellent, and Marilyn and I have been to any number. I've been to at least 4 Cirque du Soleil. Marvelous.
The first of 3 days of racing took place on Banderas Bay in beautiful clear sky conditions. When the race started, the wind was blowing at 10 knots and built to 18 by the end of the racing. 26 boats participated, divided into 5 classes.
So when we did the 2014 race, we decided not to do the practice day, and so our first day was not very good. yesterday we did the practice day, we did all the starts, and I think it got us in the groove for the start of the race today. However, the conditions were challenging today. It was a very good race, and I always like going down toward Puerto Vallarta downtown. I like doing a longer course, and today was a 12-mile course, so I liked it quite a bit.
After boats stretched their legs on an 11-mile course on day 1, Principal Race Officer Don Becker chose a day 2 course that took competitors to Puerto Vallarta and back, a total distance of 15 miles. The results stood at a 5-way tie for first place in the performance class, a 3-way tie for third place in the cruiser under 42 class, and a 2-way tie for first place in cruising multi-hulls. The boats have it all to do then to podium tonight. The race was in the north side of the bay to an area of higher winds and lots of downwind and reaching conditions. This race was downwind, giving skippers an opportunity to show off their beautiful spinnakers in what's become one of the closest and most exciting Banderas Bay regattas in recent years.
Actually, we have a very bad start. We recover a little in the first leg. Then a lot of boats of our class had a lot of problems up there near Puntamita. That was no wind. It was like a hole there. So we spent a lot of time there trying to pass that mark. And from there we go to the finish mark and we get second today. And with that we are the winners of our class.
Trophies were presented at a beach party at Paradise Village Resort at 7 p.m. As every year, the BBR Beach Party was the big event of the Banderas Bay sailing season, with local band Luna Rumba playing the dance music for over 300 competitors and guests.
Well, the Yacht Club has been here for like 14 years, and Bahía de Banderas has been since then. So we have every night a cocktail party, and we have a building, so we get all together, and it's nice because we know everybody here. I mean, if you live here, it's a very small community. The sailing community is this big, no? Everybody knows each other. So it's nice that you can, talk to everybody and check what was the race today and how we did and all that stuff. So it's nice.
The first phase of the FMV Cup 2016 was amazing for all sailors, and most importantly, Vallarta has established itself as one of the best places for sailing. Next on the calendar is the very important 2016 Laser World Championships.
Chill love.